Welcome to The Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of The Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to The Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life. We all have stories we share. Unfortunately, a lot of those stories disempower us. There's something that we tell ourselves, there's something that we tell other people over and over again to show why we can justify where we're at in the world, why we act the way we do, why we feel the way we do. Today, we're going to talk about telling your story in another way. It's really about transforming that story into one that's empowering for you, finding the gifts and everything that's happened in your life, and then sharing it in a way that others can take advantage of it, where others can really learn from your experiences, feel motivated from what you've accomplished and how you've accomplished it, and really learn to be more of themselves, because in telling your story, you're sharing more of yourself. I'm with Zarinah El-Amin today. Zarinah is an award-winning Detroit-based anthropologist who helps mission-driven entrepreneurs create cultural change through books, programs, businesses, experiences, and products that feed their pockets, their soul, and the world. As a global presenter, Zarinah has served museums, libraries, corporations, and institutions all over the world. She's been featured by TEDx, NPR, Fox, CBS, Bermuda Press, and in several print media. When not working, Zarinah is relaxing with her three children or planning her next global adventure. Zarinah, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
Let's go! Yes!
All right. I am so excited. I've known Zarinah for a couple of years now, and I'll tell you, I don't know if I know a more motivated, get out there, get things done person. So I'm so excited to share you with the imagination today. Before we get started, could you tell us a little bit more outside of what I shared in the intro?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being here, and I appreciate the whole concept of miracles. That is a gorgeous idea to implant in our minds. So thank you for that. I am a cultural anthropologist from Detroit, Michigan. And really what I see my role here in the world being is someone who is to contribute to the positive evolution of our society. You know, all of us are looking at the world through the lens that we have. And all of us have some role to play in order to make what we see better. So my job has been to bring forward that in myself, but also help other people to tap into the ways that they can contribute to the positive evolution of society. So I'm excited to be here with you.
That's awesome. If you could give me in, let's say, 4 or 5 words, what you think your mission is in the world, what would that be?
To awaken people to their soul and the world in ways that are fulfilling. That was more than 3 or 4, but that's it.
And Zarinah, could you share a little bit with the audience exactly how you do that? Because you bring so many different things to the world. Would you share a little bit about the book world and some of the other adventures that you do?
Yeah, you know, one of the beautiful things about being a cultural anthropologist is that we get to look at so many ways that humans are humans and how that shows up, right? And so for me, I have been using cultural tools that I feel do the job of what I said, like contributing to the positive evolution of society, right? And one of the cultural tools that I found that is the most powerful is a book, is our written word. And that has been proven since the time of people writing on clay tablets, through papyrus, and then to now where we have ebooks and all of those different formats. So while the formats have changed, the power of sharing your message and your ideas and your skills through the written word has not diminished. And now for myself, I have really seen the importance of us capturing our legacy and capturing our ideas. My mother passed almost 2 years ago now. It was July 8th. This is 2021. It was July 8th, 2019. Yeah, so almost 2 years now. And even though I was in books at the time that she passed, like we had never captured her story. We had never taken the time to actually sit down and write out her story. We just wrongfully assumed that we were going to have more time. And, we waited for that magical moment when the stars were going to align and mom was going to have all this time and sit down and write, even though we know that to be a crock. But in the end, we didn't capture her story. And so now my children, her grandchildren, right? And then their children, her great grandchildren, are not going to be able to hear about her legacy in her own words, right? In her own words. So it'll be filtered. They'll hear, of course, from us, but there's a power in telling your story in your own words. And we didn't do that. And that's one of my biggest regrets, really. I really feel like that was just stupid of me not to do that since I'm in the book world. But, with that happening, it really kind of pushed me, if you will. It pushed me to do more and to really help people make it easier for them to do that. So whether they're doing a legacy book or they're doing a business related book, the goal is to share what you know with other people, on a broader scale so that they can benefit. And then also so that you can capture your own legacy.
Could you go a little bit deeper in it? And the reason I'm asking this question, I agree with you 100%. I've tried to motivate, move along, push, sometimes shove people into telling their story, especially stories that would not just motivate, but just as this podcast is, to bring hope to the world, to show people that there's a way beyond where we feel stuck sometimes, or we feel repressed or suppressed in any way. Could you share how sharing your story affects society?
Mm-hmm. I'll take one of our authors, for example. His name is Muhammad Kamruzaman. He was a retired engineer, worked in the military, and he had these ideas about spirituality, about tapping into your soul, on a deeper level. And these were ideas that he would share with his family members. And sometimes they were like, oh, here come granddaddy talking again, about this same stuff that he's always talking about. And so he came to us because he wanted to share it with other people now, right? And so here's a grandfather, right? Never had any type of social media presence or any of that kind of stuff. But what we were able to do with his message was, one, make it coherent, because a lot of people have a lot of different ideas and lived experience, and there's a lot going on. So we need to, first of all, make it coherent where people can pick up the message that you're trying to put down. So we did that with him. But the beautiful thing, I think, one of the most beautiful things for me that came out of his book, he hit Amazon bestseller, all of that kind of stuff. That's cool. But it was the impact that he was able to make, like with getting emails and inboxes from strangers that he didn't know that picked up his book. It's called Muslim in Transit. It was about his life connecting back to his religion. And, the random emails and inboxes that he received from strangers who were able to find his book and get value out of it is absolutely priceless, right? So he went from just talking to his family and his intimate connective group and into other people, right, that are able to benefit. So to me, those are the things that I love to see. I love to see when people um, don't psych themselves up and don't like count themselves out and think that I don't have a big name and I'm not going to be able to reach anybody. And, I'm not Michelle Obama. I'm not this big expert and all of these things. And many people count themselves out. However, just putting your stuff out there, you never know who you'll be able to impact. But it didn't just come by happenstance. Like he sat on that book for like 25 years or whatever. It was a long time. And when I met with him, he had stacks upon stacks upon stacks of these like manila folders with all of these random writings that he had just, had some inspirational guidance or something at times would hit him and he would write these things down. But he could have sat on that, for longer and it could have ended up 6 feet under in the ground. It could have died with him. But at a point, he said, okay, I'm going to actually do something and get the help that I need in order to make it happen. So I think that people, events like people get these inspired ideas sometimes and they just push them to the side. And at some point, you got to actually start to listen to the inspiration that you get and be willing to move with the inspiration and take the action that's required in order to bring it forward. Otherwise, it's like, why do you think God gave you that inspiration? And it's just for you to push it to the side? Like, no, you have to actually do something with it.
Awesome. That is so right on point. And yeah, I'm going to call you my straight woman today. So you lead me right into my next question. Was there any wake up calls that happened in your life that kind of pushed you into bringing this amazing work to the world? And because I know you're one of those people that gets so many ideas. You're definitely a visionary. What pushed you and moved you into bringing this gift to the world?
Yeah. My mother's death was definitely a big motivating force with my direction around legacy and not just on the have a bestseller, get clients, because a lot of people with books focus on that. And while we do that, I found that for me, the legacy piece is really, really important to me and to many of the people that I'm working with. But, like I said, I'm a cultural anthropologist. I've always tried to travel around the world and to take other women. I've taken groups of women on trips around the world as well, to Morocco, to Senegal, to Indonesia. And, when you traverse the earth and when you're able to see the many ways in which we're able to do this thing called being human, you get inspired in so many ways. You get called that your gift matters and your gift it has a place. It has a place. And every time I take a trip, for both myself, but then also when I see the people that I'm leading on the tours, and I see their big ahas and I see their eyes like light up and I see them have like this moment, it is infectious. It's infectious and it makes me want to continue to help people connect to the world. So, the trips that we take and my mother's passing, for me, some people think I'm kind of morbid because I talk about death a lot. I do. I talk about death. I talk about the fact that none of us are promised tomorrow. Like none of us, like we don't know how long we're going to be here. I could be perfectly healthy today and something happens, tomorrow. So my big thing is that we have to take advantage of the time that we have right now at this moment, the present, because we don't know. It's a precious gift, that we have. So it's not morbid. It's not to make us think about dying and all of that kind of stuff, but it is just to make us think about living and right. Living in a way that you feel invigorated, that you feel enlivened and that you feel awake. You're not just on like the rote hamster wheel of life, just la, 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 floating through, going around and around and around. So that was a long answer, but the traveling and the consideration of the gift of the present are really things that drive me forward with my work.
We're all here with a life that we're meant to live, and if we're just trotting along, like you said, we're not bringing all our gifts to the world, and we're not sharing ourselves fully, and that's so important for us to feel good and for us to be at the higher vibrations, but then we can't help but change the vibration around us, which is really what we're here to do. You said something very interesting. Your mother's death brought you into considering legacy a little bit more. So, could you speak to how legacy can make a difference even in your business books?
Hmm. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, so much of what human beings, the lessons that we learn, ends up 6 feet under in the ground, right? And people don't share them. And I believe that our evolution as a species, as a community, as humanity, that every time someone is born and the lessons that we learn more about how to connect with others, how to be better, all of those things, how to have peace in our lives and all of that, those are things that we're supposed to share so that our evolution as a society can and be enhanced, right? And it can be positive, which is why I say positive evolution, because we're always changing. Like everything is in flux. We understand that. We know that just matter, like nothing is static, nothing is just sitting there. We understand it's always in flux. But we don't want to just have change moving back and forth, and coming always back to the baseline. We want to have change that's going to take us to the next level. And I believe that every time we have one of those aha moments, those lessons that we learn, that should be shared with society so that the whole society can benefit. However, too much of it is going 6 feet under, too much of it is lost, and we're not passing those lessons over, and then we're having to repeat as a society. So we're not going to progress. We're not going to hit our next, levels that we can hit as human beings if we don't capture more of that. And so whether it's a skill or a process that you have that you're sharing with your clients, whether it is, something that you learned from raising your children or whatever, I think all of those things are things that should be amplified and shared out on in ways that other people can benefit. And, I find that with our writing, there have been some side benefits, if you will, some side things that have come to some of my clients that we didn't even expect. I mean, like one woman, we were talking to my academy the other, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and she mentioned that she had an estranged like relationship with her daughter, right? Like she had this estranged relationship with her daughter. Well, she's writing her memoir, and in writing her memoir, she had to call her mother, who she didn't have the best relationship with, but at least she was talking to her mother. She had to call her mother and get some information, right? Like fill in some of the gaps that she needed for her book. When she called her mother, her daughter answered the phone. So her mother and her daughter, had a relationship. Her daughter answered the phone. And through the writing, she had been getting these like, deep introspective moments from just the writing process itself. And so she understood that she needed to apologize to her daughter for some of the wrongs that she had created in their relationship. She apologized to her daughter, and now they've been like talking nonstop since then. So that's not a benefit that, we would have said, hey, when you write your book, you're going to repair relationships, you're going to, build your family. We would have never said anything like that. But there are some beautiful side things that come from taking your mind to that level of depth that comes from, writing a book. It just is what it is. When you write, when you go to certain levels, you're able to, it's a personal development tool. It's a sharpening tool for you as a human being. And things happen that you sometimes don't even, that you don't even consider, right? So that's kind of what I mean as far as legacy, in that you're sharing it with other people, but you're also creating things that you may not even, recognize. And that's a beautiful and powerful aspect of writing.
That's one of the things, as I shared with you earlier, Mary and I are working on a memoir right now. And one of the things that I've seen through it is, one, at Imagine Miracles, we teach that there's a gift in everything, in our past and our present, and to find that gift's important. But what I found was that I was able to, really prospect, if you will, the gift in many situations that I've experienced in my life, because I was looking at it from another aspect and in a way to share it with people, which, triggers different parts of the brain. And when your brain's looking at a circumstance or a situation differently, now you start finding some gifts in things that you might not. And like you said, here's a mother that in the heat of the battle, there probably was tension. The eagles are fired up, the pain bodies are everywhere, and when she's sitting down writing introspectively, now all of a sudden, wow, now I know what's important in my life. So that was such a great story to share, because I think everybody needs to hear it. What about those people that don't think they have a story?
Yeah, you always have, people that feel like I'm not important enough, or I don't have, any story, or I don't have this, I don't have that, but it's just simply not true. We don't have to be Michelle Obama. Like I said, we don't have to be Oprah or any of these big name people in order for our life to have value. And all of us have some type of aha moment that has happened in our life that taught us more about how to do this thing, right? How to traverse and live. And those are things that can help people. I don't really care if it's how to bake the best pound cake, how to bake the best. Someone say, but that's not really important. It's not really important to bake or this or this, but baking can bring joy. Like that can be a wonderful opportunity to do something with your family or with your children or whatever. So really, I find that whatever we feel like our gifts are, or whatever we're really good at naturally, all of those things can help us be better humans. They can always have a way to help us connect to one another and to this world that we're living in. So I would just challenge anyone who says, I don't have a story, I don't have anything to share, to kind of it's almost like a slap in the face of God is kind of how I'm thinking of it. Because like, who are you to say that you don't have anything to share? Who are you to say that your life was just la la la, just put here for nothing? Like, why do you think you're here? Like every single one of us is special in our own way. So it's like blasphemy almost for me to put myself down on a level that I'm already at a high level. So how am I going to knock myself down? So yeah, I think that everyone needs to just recognize you have something to share, no matter what it is. You have something that you have learned, a skill, a knowledge, a expertise, that can help someone else. And that's ultimately the goal. It may not be 1 million people though. People really get caught up in this. I got 15 million followers on Instagram. I got, 3,000 people that inbox me a day. Don't worry about all those numbers and all of that. Those are like false senses of connection, if you will. If you help just one person, and I know it's cliche, people say it, but it's true. If you really help one person have some type of thing that can give them a little bit of hope or inspiration or motivation or, an idea that helps them move forward, then I think you've done your job.
Oh, once again, my straight lady taking me into my next topic that I want to ask you about. That helping one person is a miracle. That is truly making a difference in the world. That's truly solving problems. Our definition of miracle is through an act of love, sharing your gifts and talents in a way that others can share theirs. And in sharing your gifts and talents, what legacy do you want to leave?
I want to be remembered as someone that lived authentically. And I want to be remembered as someone that had the courage to bring forward my ideas and not be afraid of failure, And I think that I'm doing a good job with that right now, in that, I have always been able to tap into my truth and myself and not care about what other people say, because people call me crazy now, like, why would you do this? And why would you do this? And blah, blah, blah. People always have stuff to say when you are not following what the boxes that they think that you should be in, right? And I think that I hope that my legacy is someone that did good on this world and help other people do good by tapping into their souls and connecting to the world in ways that were meaningful. And that's my prayer for myself. And that's what I hope my kids, take over. Just one real quick thing, like my son the other day, I didn't realize that they watch me and they listen more than I thought, right? So my son, I was recording the video and then I paused it. And then I had my son, I was like, okay, like you record the video. And so I put the camera on him. And then he went into this whole spiel about how to start writing your own book. You get the first thing you do, the second thing you do, the third thing you do. And I was like, whoa. I was like, who is this kid? And to me, like that was an aha moment. Like, oh my God, like they're watching me and they are listening and they are absorbing. And, the things that I'm doing with my clients and all of that stuff is amazing. I hope that that's a part of my legacy, but also these babies, are a part of my legacy as well. And if I can impart those things in them and the things that they watch me do, do good in the world, then they do that as well. So yes, that's it.
I want to acknowledge you, Zarinah, for actually living your legacy in life. Mm. Because I think it's so important for us to realize that it's not about doing so we're remembered in a certain way. It's about doing and being and sharing who you are right now so you can experience your legacy in others while you're here on earth. It's not something that, okay, we'll just leave this, wrap it in a bowl and leave it. Everybody's got so much to give now. And if we can experience our legacy while we're living, how spectacular for us and the world. It's so
love important. That. Living legacy. I love that. Yeah, that's a beautiful concept and beautiful idea.
And I hope, and by sharing stories, I think what you're doing is really helping people do that. When they start sharing their stories, and I'm a firm believer like you are, I'm pushing my mother-in-law. You need to write your story. You need to write your story because she's got so much to share, and she's, really built a very strong foundation that, boy, our kids need. We kind of push our older family, our older people off to the side, but there's so much available to us there. No, we don't have to go back and do things their way, but the experiences that they had is so powerful that there's lessons in it, even if it was 10 decades ago. For 100-year-old people, it might be 10 decades ago, but the lessons, the reason we're here, how we're really supposed to be living our lives, and I don't like the word supposed to, but it's good in this situation to share it this way, have been there all along, and let's not throw out all this amazing guidance that can be given to us from our older people. So I think that's absolutely amazing what you just shared. Let me ask you, because believe it or not, we are at the end of our time. Could you share a piece of guidance with the imagination that will help them in their legacy, help them in sharing their story?
Yeah, I think, I want to say this because it's coming to my head right now, and with what you just said, and the piece about connecting to your elders, I think that is absolutely critical. And I want to just put that into our head, that if you have someone in your life, like we're doing a project now called At Their Feet, which is under the idea of sitting at the feet of the elders, right? And so I think even if you did nothing else, I would love for people just to connect to their elders and the other people that they have in their community and ask a question. Call someone up today and ask them, what was a miracle in your life? And let them just tell you their story of what was a miracle in their life. You will be so surprised as to the things that people hold on to. One, you're creating a sense of love for them where they know that they're valued and they are appreciated, and they're seen. And then 2, you get to learn, that lesson or such. So that's totally an aside, but I think it is so important, and it's free, and it's something all of us can do on a weekly basis. Call some elder or call someone in your family or such, and just ask them a simple question, to help tap into that. But for those who are looking to self-publish their book and looking to get information around there, we always have a lot of resources and things that people can use. And one of them that I've created that's been a game changer for many people is this checklist that just gives you an overview of the self-publishing process. How do you go about writing? How do you go about organizing your ideas? So I can give that. Is it okay for me to give that link to your people? It's
Sure.
free.
Yes, please.
Okay. It's bookpowerpublishing.com/checklist. bookpowerpublishing.com/checklist. So for those of you who have kind of been on the fence and you've kind of been waiting for the stars to align, get off the fence. The stars are not going to align. You have to decide that you're going to do it, and you have to take advantage of today, because none of us are promised tomorrow. So bookpowerpublishing.com/checklist is a free resource. I just put some finishing touches on it just for your people today, so they can grab that and kind of get an overview of what goes into writing their legacy.
Excellent. I'll make sure all that information is available on Zarinah's show page. Just go to themiracleu.com, look for Zarinah's episode, and all that information will be available, plus the other ways to get in touch with her. Zarinah, thank you so much for being with me today. It was great to see you again, because I get the privilege of seeing you on Zoom. And it was really great to hear your heart come out in this episode. And I think you're going to touch many lives as people listen to you and what you're bringing to the world. So I appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for creating your living legacy while you're here. So we appreciate you.
Zarinah, so I know there's some exciting news for the listeners that's going to happen here real soon. Can you tell us about your new book and the launch?
Yes. So I have taken all of the years of knowledge with publishing and put it into a book now called Book Power. It's called Book Power, and this is my system that I've been using with my clients, but now other people can pick it up and be able to walk step by step through the process of creating a best-selling book. A book that's going to build your businesses, your legacy, and then also your impact. So I'm super excited about this book coming out, because it really is a game changer, and it allows people to move through and become a published author without so much of the overwhelm and confusion and what do I do next? All you have to do is just follow along step by step. So yes, I'm super excited about that coming out.
Great, and we'll make sure that gets on this show page.
Thank you. Awesome.
Excellent. On behalf of Mary, my business partner, my wife, and the entire Imagine Miracles team, we want to wish you a miracle day.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleu.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 mind-awakening steps toward your unique purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleu.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.